Hello viewers, well it's time for a bit of arcade action this week as we look at Fast and the Furious Arcade Edition, one of two games being released this week by Game Meal Entertainment on the same day, no less. We also have Hot Wheels, which I'll be looking at that in a separate video, but Fast and Furious Arcade Edition. This is, as you can see, a sim racing game that simulates the automotive perfection of the Fast and the Furious movies. Let's learn a bit about automotive simming done right. Let's see some gameplay. So it's very much in the cruising vein in terms of the action, very similar in style. This is a very strange game. It's got some aspects of it that are very polished, very complete, and other aspects which just sort of rushed out the door. It's very strange in both titles. So we look at the graphics and the presentation. Excellent. 60 FPS, really smooth. The effects are nice, the particles are nice, the graphics in general have a wow factor to them given the scale of the environments. The environments themselves are varied, they're creative, colourful, really nice. There's so many little details in there that the courses are enjoyable to drive, and how they've put it all together in terms of any reused assets work really well. And I found myself discovering new aspects and finding new shortcuts and new ways to try and find a way to save time. If you can do that, it's a very unusual game. I'm going to talk a bit about progression and then come back to the handling in a moment, but the progression is just very unusual. You go into the first race and select where you want to start, and then you have to just win the races, and there's no saving your progress anywhere. There's nothing to indicate what races you've won or some sort of trophy leaderboard. It's all a little bit confusing in terms of when things become available and the extreme mode later on. Suffice to say, I just went into the game and started playing and worked my way down to the bottom of the sort of hill-like structure of the races, and really you find out the entire race borders on the last 2 seconds of every, whatever it is, 5-minute run, and you have to sort of hit an object before your rival, which often means saving one of the nitrous speed boosts just for that moment to hit the objective. And so many times I just failed like by a millisecond. It was actually really tense and enormously, somewhere sort of between, well, I'd actually say frustrating and stressful in terms of how the game actually works at those points. So polish wise, the visuals look really nice, and the tracks are well put together. Everything seems to run relatively smoothly. Let's talk a bit about the gameplay, because this is where these games tend to fail. When you're looking at the tutorial guide, it's just a few how-to things in the instructions. What would have been much better on this game would have been an actual gameplay tutorial, a video tutorial if you like, just show you how to play. I say that because it's just an odd game to play. You're doing these sort of double taps on the controller to drift or to put the car on 2 wheels, but I never really felt anything was any quicker than anything else. When I go through the different cars in the car selection screen, it says speed and handling, and you can feel a kind of difference in them, but I couldn't really put my finger on what was different between them. In fact, the cars topped out at the same top speed, whatever the speed was anyway, and I couldn't really determine, oh, this car's quicker than this car, or this car is better or worse handling. It's more twitchy. I don't know if it's better handling. So in terms of car selection, from tutorial and learning how to use your car, which is a journey of discovery, to applying the various gameplay mechanics, which is a journey of discovery, to trying to win. It's very, very unusual. Didn't really know what I was doing most of the time, but let's crack on. I was, for some reason, enjoying myself, and I don't know why. I think it was because in my own mind I felt like I was playing Outrun 2, but with comparatively poor handling. Okay, so I'm playing the game, and the cars are very twitchy. There's just not a lot to it, like the cruising games really. It's just left and right. I don't think you ever hit the brake. You never hit the brake. You never hit the brake anywhere. You're just double tapping on the you're looking for shortcuts and double tapping to do these various different moves. You've got a nitro, which you basically, your nitrous, you save for pretty much the last 100 meters if you can, save a couple of them for that. And then there's a various couple of boost functions for jumps and getting off the start line if you time it right. I don't think I actually did very often. It's very inconsistent. Handling itself though is just very strange. The cars are so twitchy. Didn't really know how to be fast in many respects. You know, you're trying to avoid objects, but sometimes you bash into objects and you end up with faster times at the end of the stage. None of it really made any sense to me. I was playing it and I was just thinking to myself, oh, there's so much potential here with the graphics and the stages and the cars, especially if there was a handling and just a bit more depth to it in terms of gameplay. It actually just felt more precise. There's a lot that could have been done that wasn't here. I think of old games like Dirt Dash in the arcades, or exploration driving games, or Outrun 2. There's a lot of options that I felt were provided and presented here. I think of other games even like Motortoon Grand Prix, where you were driving around a house and you're driving around all these different objects on that journey of discovery. It's just lacking so much in terms of the gameplay, and yet I found myself compelled to see where it went, to see if there was anything more I could unlock. So I spent hours and hours on it, playing with different cars. When you exit, you go back to the main menu. There's no clear definition on what tracks you've completed, what cars you've done it with. Either way, I seemed to progress to an extreme mode with one of the cars, and that gave me a much, much faster car with more nitrous speed boots and a much higher difficulty setting. So then you were really quick getting down, and you needed to know the shortcuts if you were to have a chance of winning the races. So just a look at those locations. You had Swiss Alps, Hong Kong, very colourful, Havana, Yellowstone, Colombia and Abu Dhabi, which even features a little bit of the racetrack in there, the Yas Marina racetrack, in its own quirky way. This is a very strange game, in a similar way to the cruising games were when they were taking locations and joining them all together. I don't have the price details on. I'm going to see if I have the price details. Right, well, I don't have the price details. I did double check. The game will be coming to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS and PC. In this video you've been seeing a PlayStation 5 version, which runs nice and fluid throughout. So I'm not certain entirely what the price is going to be for it. It's a very simple, basic game. Great for a younger audience. People who perhaps just want to pick up a controller and feel like a badass for half an hour. It's one of those really. I did find it strangely compelling for some reason. There is so many details in this game, so many things they could have done that made this game better. It's like half a game, and there's so many little things they could have done. I wish they had just added to add a little bit of longevity and get you more involved and really make you feel like you were getting somewhere. It's quite unusual in terms of the thought process behind the sort of marketing plan that makes something like this. But either way, it's got the Fast and Furious brand behind it. It's relatively polished in terms of the game mill, what they do with their developments across this and Hot Wheels. They certainly have some polish to them. But the handling and the gameplay leaves a lot to be desired. Despite that, I just seem to keep coming back for more. But a very unusual game. And that's that. I'm going to leave you with that at the moment, with a little bit of gameplay. I welcome your comments on this one. What do you think of this sort of thing? Very basic, as I say. But anyway, do like and subscribe. It supports what I do. And as ever, there'll be more from me very soon.